We can only win here if you and I are able to surrender the me to the we. It does not happen if you contest the reality out of personal convenience. Ask not what this country will do for you with coronavirus. Ask what you can do for the country. And the good part is, you already know the answer.
In all those horrible situations, they prove really that humans can withstand almost unimaginable stress.
But the truth is, in this war, our fate is in our own hands. I know it seems like all these restrictions on us prove that we are losing the war. It must be bad against the virus. The truth is the opposite. This is our blockade. This is our best defense. It's a simple logic play. If you can keep people who have the virus from spreading it, the best way to do that is what? Limit interactions, right? Then they who have it can get better without creating more cases.
Children get upset when they see the routine falling apart. And we're going to be together a lot more now. So it's very important that they see parents running the business of the family.
Come on, man. A generation or so ago, they were called to a war that took them to hell for years. They signed up in waves to serve. They lied about their age. They lied about their health to get a chance to make a sacrifice for this country. You are being asked to stay on the couch.
What makes people have anxiety is when they feel out of control. And I don't want people to feel out of control. If you feel out of control, then you think something's going to jump on you, this is just going to come get you, and you're not going to have any ability to fight back.
We can do it. But it's not just the practical, is it? It's the potential. We're worried. And you are right to be worried about what's to come. For all the qualifiers about who's most at risk, any of us could get it. Any of us could spread it.
It's going to get worse before it gets better. What they need to do is be compliant. Social distancing is important. Self-isolation is important. When we shut down things and say don't get in groups, respect that.
It scares me as a parent, man. I'm worried for my kids, and I'm seeing them be worried. I am having the same conversations with my family that you're having with yours all over the country. We don't know many of the answers about this virus, but we do know what matters most. But if we can surrender the me to the we, if we stay informed and stay together by staying put, we'll get through this.
How many of you have something in your life right now that you could worry about and be very anxious about if you just didn't decide not to? Most people do, and if you don't have anything today, you might have something tomorrow or the next day, and that's not like a negative comment. That's just life is real, and we never know exactly what's going to come our way, but we do know God. We don't have to live in fear because He's with us and He's on our side.
In all those horrible situations, they prove really that humans can withstand almost unimaginable stress, which meant to me that I could too, and you can.
I had a lot of bad things happen to me in the early years of my life, and I got to the point where I was afraid of bad things happening, where you just kind of have this sensing around you that you're waiting for the next disaster. And I've learned, instead of doing that, to expect something good to happen in my life and to expect it on purpose. You can choose your own thoughts. You don't have to just think whatever falls in your head. You can cast out wrong things and choose right things. And worry actually begins with a thought.
And the first step for me is doing that, taking that look to gain some perspective. And then in order to gain perspective, you got to do something that we already talked about. You've got to detach. You've got to detach from the problems or the stress that you're experiencing so that you can get that perspective of them.
Faith, I believe, starts in our heart. It's a gift of God, but it's released through us thinking and speaking right things. And when we have a problem, we can either do what the devil wants us to do and worry about it, get all anxious and try to figure things out. Worry, anxiety, reasoning, 3 major torments in our life. Or we can do what God wants us to do, and we can choose to trust Him. We can think loving, trusting thoughts and think about the promises of God.
There's a couple different types of stress. Now, if it's something that you can control that's causing you stress, well, why aren't you getting control of it? Generally, it's a lack of discipline. So you gotta have the discipline to grab control and make it happen. And when I say you need discipline for that, what that means is these stresses that you're avoiding, they're not gonna go away if you avoid them. So take the discipline to face the stressful situation. Get ahead of it. Don't be afraid of it.
Worry enters our life through thoughts. Every time we have a problem in our house, Dave has one answer. Dave and I have been married 44 years, and in 44 years, every time we have a problem, Dave has one answer. Cast your care. You know, the word cast, if you look it up, means to pitch or to throw. So it seems like if we're going to get rid of these worries and anxieties, we're going to have to get a little bit violent with them.
Now, there's also stress that's caused by things that you cannot control. So if you can't control something and you can't get control of it, you have to at least embrace what you can. But you can't control it, so why are you going to worry about it? Why are you going to stress about it? If there's something that's completely beyond your control, you've got to detach from it and not let yourself get stressed about it.
And to say, I am not going to put up with worry and fear and anxiety and every kind of mental torment any longer, and just knowing it won't help you. You have to act on it.
If it's something that you can't control, how can you look at it in a different light? How can you see it in a way that you could actually take advantage of it? How can you take that stress and make it into some kind of ally? You know, the chaos of combat is something that I couldn't control, but I had to embrace it so I could try and figure out how to take advantage of it. So when it comes to stress, don't fight it. Turn it on itself and use it. Use it to make yourself sharper and more alert, and use it to make yourself think more and learn more and get better. And use that stress as a catalyst to make yourself better.
Why do you worry? What do you worry about more than anything else? What's the thing that had you up at 3:30 this morning and your mind started spinning? Because this is what happens. Your mind starts spinning. Some of us get up to use the bathroom, and then we never quite make it back to a rested state because our bladders and our brains are both under demon possession. and so both of them are too full. And so we wake up in the middle of the night, and here we are, and this is how it happens for me. My mind just starts spinning.
The struggle is in your mind. This is why we have people who go to bed tired and wake up tired. Slept 8 hours and you wake up still tired. The reason you wake up tired is that you got sleep but you didn't get rest. The mind is the battleground. The fight is in your mind.
Do not worry, that's the command, or take no thought, that's literal. Take no thought. Think about that. A thought that presents itself to you can start you spinning in a direction if you take it. But it can't start you spinning if you don't hold on to it.
If we're always on the lookout for something or someone who could harm us, then we're prepared to act when that threat becomes imminent. But because the current threat is a small virus with no known treatment yet, and an uncertain timeline for when it will invade our communities, we aren't able to use our fight or flight response in an effective way.
Hold that thought. And you get a hold of a thought and you let it take you somewhere, but where you take that thought, eventually you find out it takes you somewhere. And for me, a lot of times I end up in this spin cycle. Do you know what I'm talking about? Talk to me. this spin cycle of stress.